Welcome to the realm of Millenia. Be ye man, woman, child, spirit, creature, demon. Be ye a native migrator, or maybe even an invader into the lands. Welcome, for I am your host, the Millennium Mailman, here today with this week 10 Devil's Advocate discussion. And I'll be world building here for you long after you've already begun to acclimate and fit in. So go ahead, sit back, relax, and enjoy as I delve into this week 10 Devil's Advocate discussion on this hot take hump day. All right. So the discussion is that forbidden fruit, if you will, where what if Asian dual cultivations of immortality was proven to really work? Most of that morality, age boundary, and monogamy would probably disintegrate. And to go along with it, family first and growth and development mentalities would probably sincerely grow and amplify promptly, right? Because part of that is this rather simplistic equation right here. The sensual intimacy would lead to growth of genuine strength and longevity, where the more sensual intimacies you indulge in, you get stronger, you live longer, you feel better, you get happier, and with time comes money. Money's time. Hell yeah, more of it, more out to go around, right? And with all of that, you would thus have growth of ambitions and growth of social family competitions, which would thus lead to growth in civilization, enhancing advancement from the competitive spirit and nature that went along with that longer lifespan and social proofs to and through each other who's promiscuously going around and doing this. It's going to be a more comparative aspect there. So there would be certain developments and, of course, different setbacks we'd have to get through. But that. But that is the general argument here and discussion. So that was the main topic, going down into the 1, 2, 5 bullet points here with this discussion. First of all, that sensual practicing of sensual indulgence could directly better the participants, where that would be physically, spiritually, in lasting ways. That general acceptance and understanding of that was going to effectively really start to amplify all of those pros of earlier and earlier and sooner sensual interactions amongst people into being more something that more outweighs the moral and other genetic dilemmas brought about by sciences and stuff against all the other sensual activities being prohibited at those earlier and earlier ages of limitation. Like, there in every country there's a legal age limit, and it's brought about by religious or particular belief systems and social climate expectations of certain ages, and after that and before that. So there is something to be said about the legal aspects, but with dual cultivation, anyone who says they want the best for their children and so on and so forth is going to, that concept alone is going to be eventually get perversed, and probably sooner than later, because of the direct benefits you be able to see as you cultivate. So there would be earlier and earlier ages of the children becoming more precocious in order to become part of that dual cultivation society of that garnishes strength and power and longevity. It's like, I don't want my child to live have only a potential of a life expectancy of 40 to 60, maybe 70 years at max, when I he or she can be a bit more precocious and promiscuous a few years earlier, and then be able to live longer and look younger for longer periods of time, as well as be physically stronger. Why in the world would I prohibit them from that? That would be ridiculous. That would be less about their well-being, because the very sensual practices of that dual cultivation and promotes you indulge yourself sensually and generally, especially if it's with willing and compatible partners. God forbid you'd be able to have a pleasurable sensation along with this physical indulgence of the sensual activity. So you have emotional, physical, and spiritual and other sensational needs being provided for from the interaction, as long as you live longer and get stronger. I don't understand how many ways that would need to be said. So for that being bullet point number 1, the age boundaries would effectively disintegrate fast. Second bullet point, it will thus disintegrate most of those moral and religious standards of what is considered the sacred soul ties and other sacred natures of monogamy, as well for the rather blatant benefits, again with the pros, to social, sensual, promiscuous, and desires for wilder and wilder experimentations for more benefits of discovery, where that's more so going down the rabbit hole of if dual cultivation was proven to really work. Okay, cool. We can do this. We live in a world where monkey see, monkey do, and the rest of us want to know who and how and what and whys. So if it was ever proven that the dual cultivation thing really works, the same way people be getting experimental in the bedroom, there would be tons of families, people, and individuals alike who would experiment with the different ways of to what extent could we do things in order to still receive benefits, and to what degrees and what things would you need to do to maximize the best results for the general public of our family and of our lineage, of our clan, of our sect, or whatever it is, of our community, to do it. So going down that rabbit hole of, it was announced today at 7 a.m. by 12 noon time sometime this very same week, after a couple people have tested it and oh yeah, it's actually working. Oh yeah, let's see what more we can do along with this and still see a benefit. People would do experiments immediately, all right? And along with that, they would be doing those experiments while a lot of them probably being more or less, probably less and less and less and less ethical, in favor of, again, that promiscuity, polyamorous in natures, and so on and so forth. But next bullet point. Families and populations would surely exponentially rise in the leaps through, regardless of contraceptives and such, as it will further growth of familial pieties and clan mentalities, because everyone would have more family to compare, connect, relate, and support them. Where something in a lot of novels is the familial piety the familial piety, where you give credence and reverence to your elders and ancestors, especially the living ones. So, with the Asian culture's dual cultivation coming to reality, there would be a certain level of the baby boomer generation coming about all over again, where with the increased amount of sensual activity occurring, there would naturally be some hike in baby production, assuming that through cultivation it isn't sterilize you in any capacity. And there would be a corresponding increase in baby production. There would be an increased hike in, I'm gonna just read it. There would be exponential rise in the baby production regardless of contraceptives, because let's be honest, even today's day and age, there's babies being made more often, let alone if there were other benefits to be had, right? There would be also increases in the familial piety and clan and family mentalities, because everyone would be having more families. And again, with those families being made, there'd be the more comparison, connection, and relation and support. We're working backwards. There'd be more familial pieties going around, and clan mentalities, because of the support, where you're having these children and maybe you're less filial piety, which is reference to the parents, and maybe your mentality is more in favor of your children. You had the children, and you're doing everything you possibly can to support them, instead of you had the children so you'd live longer, and you're going to basically raise the children in order to support you and pay you back for all of that effort, right? But either way, working through it per se, you're getting this aspect of there's more support to go around. So there's more support because there's more people now. You have that aspect of growth of family and clan mentalities, because you have more people you can connect to, more people you relate with, more people you're tied to by blood bonds, and so on and so forth, as well as there's just more people being compared. Like with the baby boomer generation, there were more comparisons to be had because of it. So let's be real. Next up, there'd be an increase in the clan and family's first mentality would instill inter-family competition, #nationalisms, to maintain or grow family fame, authority, recognitions, and power status. So every family would develop better techniques, technologies, and histories to compare and share that would increase global advances. That's a lot of words to basically say the fact that as the growth of clan and family first mentalities arise, there's always social competition, especially in capitalism societies, even in socialist societies as well. There is, oh, your grass looks kind of greener than mine. Where'd you get it? Right, where so long as there's that human nature of comparison, there's no harm without comparison. But with comparison, there's plenty of harm to go around. right? So long as there is a level of comparison, you have your family, they have theirs, we put our family first, they put their family first. Everyone's going to be more with the increased and hiked up levels of competition, despite promiscuity on the rise, despite the what is that word? I already used it. How presumptuous of me to assume I could remember that word. It's gonna stab me in the back later. But yep. Precocious with promiscuity on the rise and the precocious nature on the rise earlier and earlier age. It's bound to happen where all the families and their family first mentalities are going to better for themselves as well. They're going to better themselves for themselves and then realize, oh, we actually have better technology. We have better this. We have better that. Because with our minor and major conflicts of competition, the world and our entire civilization just got an upgrade. Despite all the ethical and moral boundaries that we kind of kicked down the stairs in order to... What? What do you mean I kicked boundaries down the stairs? I never did such a thing. I feel like there was a mix up in that. Yes, when you kick aside those moral boundaries and those further constraints to accommodate the times, you get more advancements. Not all advancements are good ones. No one's saying that, but there is development being made. All right, and then we got this last one here, and hopefully with that global civilization-esque advancement, there would be further growth of interstellar and maybe even spatial technological and biological leaps prior to us turning on each other, where prior to agriculture and surface resources utterly being depleted from the overpopulation of the planet, and like we could totally have spatial and technological advances interstellarly before overpopulation screws us over. Because if not, and we eventually have to turn on each other, we may never make it past the clouds. The sky's the limit. Yeah. The limit for the corpses. Because civil strife, for reasons we already know about through history, would perpetually halt all to other potential advancements, right? Where civil strife, civil wars would effectively bring a halt to all our greatest potential achievements, despite all the benefits that dual cultivation being real could bring, because overpopulation is a real concern. So, happens. That is pretty much the entire discussion there. There's probably more points to be talked about and discussed. You could do it. I encourage you. It's possible. But that's pretty much it here for this one. But yes, that is the week 10 Devil's Advocate. What if Asian dual cultivations of immortality were proven to really work? Most of that stuff would generally just disintegrate quite fast and promptly. But hey, that's just me, your Devil's Advocate. Newsletter intel hot take for the discussion of the week. And week 10 at that. And that's all I gotta say. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comments, share, subscribe, and go about your business. Peace.